Welcome to Empower Her Radio, the podcast for healthcare moms who want to break free from limiting beliefs, build unshakable confidence, and step into the truest expression of themselves, both personally and professionally. I'm your host, Winn. I'm a wife, a mom, a doctor of physical therapy, and a peak performance strategist. Working with highly motivated women to transform their lives and inspire those around them is what truly lights my soul on fire. Each episode, whether it's a solo session filled with actionable strategies or an inspiring interview with a woman who has overcome significant obstacles, is designed to leave you feeling worthy and confident in the value you have to offer everyone around you. I hope you walk away empowered and ready to take that next step to lead your life on purpose. Now, let's dive into today's show. Hey guys, I wanted to pop in real quick with a special offer today. Everything that I do here at Empower Her Radio and in my private coaching practice, Elevate and Empower, is to empower and equip women, specifically moms, with everything that they could possibly need to live their dream life. So I want to give you my dream life blueprint today that can help you get started with that. Just head to corywinn.com/dreamlifeblueprint and you can find that in the show notes. All right, now back to today's show. All right, I'm sure that many of you remember Christina Vieira, who I had on the show probably a couple of months ago now, talking about all things travel. But just in case you missed it, I want to introduce her again. Christina is the founder of Showcase the World Travel, a modern travel agency for overwhelmed families. She has planned hundreds of trips for parents of young children who need a break from the busy. With a degree in events management from Suffolk University and close to 10 years planning and marketing events, and managing sales teams, travel, she has also loved handling all of the forgotten details. She is widely regarded by the family travel industry for her unique planning processes and use of modern technology. And I also can announce this because I couldn't on the last, but she was most recently honored to be included in of Travel Pulse's inaugural 40 Under 40. So we didn't get to announce that last time. It was still a secret, but I'm super excited to have you back on the show today.
Thank you. And I'm super excited too, because as much as I love talking about travel, I love also talking about my business and how I created my business. And so I'm glad that we get to have a conversation around that too.
I know. Just for those of you who kind of haven't followed my journey and obviously don't know Christina, we are both moms who were either working in corporate or healthcare and grinding away and kind of had that wake up moment of there has to be something better. There has to be something that aligns more with my values. So tell us about that, Christina. Tell us about how you came to be.
Yeah. So I did not think that this was fortunate or the universe at the time, but I was very fortunate. I was working 90-hour weeks for the tech company. There was one January where I was home 2 days the entire month
Oh,
with
wow.
travel, and not fun travel. I love to travel.
Right.
But not to not to conference centers, not to Vegas, not to Reno, and I love Orlando. I plan a lot of Disney, but I don't love Orlando convention spaces.
Right.
So, um, and I was just trying to find something that lit me up. And all of my sales team, I was planning their travel and they were asking me for help because I was traveling myself. I was going to Disney World all the time. I was a full-blown Disney adult because I needed to escape somehow. I am no longer the Disney adults that I used to be. I have a lot different priorities, but I was planning their Disney trips because it was fun.
Yeah.
And they would come to me and ask me for help, and I would plan them, and it would be 3 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep because I just finished up a sales call training our Singapore team or something like that, right? Something crazy
Yeah.
and I needed to wind down. And so I would help plan a Disney trip for one of my colleagues, and my husband woke up one night. He wasn't my husband at the time, but my husband woke up one night and said, "It's got to be a way that get paid to start doing this." And I was like, "Oh, let me look into it." And so I started looking into it and I was like, all right, great. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to sign on as an independent contractor and I'll do this on the side. This will be my side hustle and I'll make some money. And maybe in 5 years, I will, when I'm ready to start a family, I will go out and do this full time. Well, working in tech, there's a lot of things that change frequently. One of those things are
Yes.
CEOs.
Yes.
And we had a CEO come in who did a full range of layoffs, and I got let go, and I was devastated. But it was that push that I needed to make this my career. And as hard as that time was, I was going through IVF at the time. I lost my job. It was just a really, really hard time. Um, I needed it. It was the
Mhm.
universe telling me I needed to do this for myself.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's how I got started, essentially. That was a really long answer to your question.
No, but I appreciate that because how many physicians, people in tech, people in corporate are working 90 plus hours a week, grinding away for someone else, for
Yep.
someone else's mortgage. And I am not against that. There's no judgment here. We all have bills that we have to pay. And I think the safety net is, well, this is a job with benefits,
Mhm.
with pension, with a 401k. It's safe and secure. And then there's always the potential of getting laid off. And
Yep.
I don't want to, paint the world in rose-colored glasses as far as being an entrepreneur just being the way that's paved ahead, but there's something to be said about being your own boss. So
Well,
talk about that.
there's certain like there's something for everyone, right? Not
Mhm.
everyone is meant to grind for somebody else, but
Right.
some people do need to, like we need that in order for the
Right.
worlds to work.
Oh
Um,
yeah. If
but
everybody left corporate and everybody
yeah,
left healthcare, where would we be? Like absolutely.
right. Like it's knowing your path. And this is something that I talk about with any intern candidate I have for our internship program. I talk about, okay, you want to go into marketing. I recommend getting an internship with a marketing agency so you understand what it's like to do like one little thing for a bunch of different companies.
Hmm.
Getting a internship in a marketing department at a larger company so you understand how the department works working for one brand, but you still have like your content marketing or your social marketing or whatever your role is. Oh, and then also, interning with me where we're a two-person marketing team and you're the third person who comes on, and how do you market a heart-based service-led business where you wear 1,000 hats and you don't have a dedicated marketing department, right? And one of the reasons I give that advice is, where do you feel like you come alive? Well, do
Right.
you love doing that repetitive thing over and over and over again? Or do you love wearing all the different hats? Or do you like working independently? Do you like working in a team environment? Can you work remotely? Not everyone can work remotely, right?
Right. Right.
And so the sooner that an intern can, I figured that out in my 30s, as I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of your listeners are starting to figure out that something is just not doesn't feel right. It's not aligned. But if I can help those interns figure it out before they get into the workforce and start someplace that aligns them, that's the conversation we have, is where do you fit? What brings you joy?
I love that so much. You immediately said, which one of these scenarios lights you up?
Yeah.
Because how many of the people who you work with, how many colleagues come to you and no one's ever asked them that? Or
Yeah.
they've never even thought about it for themselves.
No, not at all. And I mean, we're talking we're millennial moms, and we're probably talking to a lot of other millennial moms, right? And we didn't have as many options
Hmm.
available to us. We were lucky to get into college, pay for college. We're probably still paying for college because we graduated in 2008, right? Um, we didn't have the online space we have now where you can start your own business that's aligned with what you love to do.
Well, and there's so much more discussion now about just that.
Yeah.
You know, growing up, my dad was the first one in his family to go to college. So for me to go to college, there was no question. You are going to college, you are getting a degree, maybe multiple degrees, and moving out into the job force. Like that was it. There was no other lane to follow at my house. And looking back, I don't regret any of those things, but I'm so glad now to be in this community of women to take that expertise in multiple different avenues. Whereas going into physical therapy, I was going to work full
Mhm.
time my whole career, retire with a pension or retire with a 401k at 65. And that was it. And I remember thinking at one point, oh my God, I have 30 more years.
Yeah, and it's my job. My parents told me my job in high school because I wanted to get a job at the local theme park, like all my other friends were, right? My job was to get good grades so I could get a scholarship. That was
Mm-hmm.
my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like that was it. That was there was no discussion. You're going to college. You're gonna get a scholarship to college. You're gonna like that's just what you're gonna do. And
Mm-hmm.
even though my dad was an entrepreneur, my dad started his own business and I don't know what it is, but he still has a block. He's like, "Oh, when is this little travel thing? When are you going to give up on the little travel thing?" I'm like, "Dad, you just sold your business for a lot of money. Like, I can sell mine too."
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because it's not in a traditional in he's in food and dairy. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a traditional industry, right? Um, Yeah, it's so interesting, and we just have so many options available to us, and especially now that I mean, we were sold the dream. You get to be corporate mom, and you get to wear high heels and suits, and like, and then you're going to come home and you're going to be a mom too, and you get to have it all, right? That was what we
Mm-hmm.
were told. You get to have it all,
Yeah.
but you don't because you feel guilty when you're with your family. You feel guilty when you're at work and you're not with your family, you feel guilty. And so the only thing that you have all of is guilt.
Mom guilt, career guilt.
Yes. And you'll always have it. I mean, mom guilt isn't going to go away, but I do have to say, since becoming an entrepreneur, it has reared its ugly head a lot less.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, because I think that there's been this enlightenment, especially in the last decade, maybe 5 to 10 years, maybe not quite a decade, of you can have it all. And that looks different than what you thought it was going to. And
Yes.
this overwhelming feeling of, oh my gosh, now I feel so much better. It's not that I have to work 90 hours a week and be a 24/7 mom. It's, I can make my own schedule and still be successful in corporate if you want to be, or over here as a mom. And I think the biggest thing that I hear from a lot of my clients is just because I want to be aligned with the woman who only works when Eliza Jane is in school and doesn't otherwise, doesn't mean that that has to be your dream.
Right.
And I think there's still this box of, well, I should want that, or I should want this. And no, 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 no. Whatever lights you up, like you said, is key. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, I had a conversation with one of my agents today about their 2025 goals and, what does their work life harmony look like? Because I refuse to call it balance because I don't think it
Uh-huh.
exists,
Yeah.
right? What does that integration look like for them? And she was like, I think I've gotten it to the right place, and I've seen her grow so much in the last year that, she was a stay-at-home mom, and the work that she's doing lights her up. She loves planning vacations and she loves having something for herself. And so I told her, I said, like, a lot of these conversations I'm having with people who want to work less. So is it taking on less clients? What does it look like for you? It's okay to want to work more,
Yeah.
right? It's okay to want something that is independently yours, that gives you fulfillment, like that, you can not work, you can work 30 hours a week if you want. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't take away from your family because it's filling you up. And yeah, we talked about one of her major goals for the year is she's found that balance between work and family, but she
Mhm.
hasn't found that balance for her. And where does she and personal time and, passion for herself and joy for herself, where does that come in? So
Yeah,
that's an exciting conversation too when you get to create your own schedule.
it really is. And and I want to talk for just a second. For the most part, you and I both work with moms. But
Yeah.
one of my very best friends in the world, she chose not to be a mom. She chose to not have children and just to be in this space of being able to own our choices and own what lights us on fire, whether it's, you know, building a huge brand and being a mom that only works a certain number of hours, or like being a dog mom or a pet mom and being part of a magazine and doing research in chemical engineering. Like, I think we're in this beautiful space where we as women can step into what feels aligned to us, that we
Yeah.
can create our own path and we don't have to follow what anybody growing up told us we should do, or thoughts of how we should live our lives.
Yeah. Well, I think that brings us to a really good question is how, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's where you come in as a coach and helping them find out where they want to go and what their purpose is and what that alignment is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how to get started in different areas.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things we talked about wanting to talk a little bit about today is if you love planning travel, how do you get started in this industry?
Right. Right.
And I'll go back to that time that long answer to your question where, I started doing this as a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ways to get started in so many different industries. And so I think this goes for everything, but it's finding something that aligns with your values.
Mm-hmm.
The first agency I started with was the first one who called me back.
Uh-huh.
And they asked me some questions about Disney World and, would what are the deluxe resorts on the monorail or some fact that you can look up, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, you can teach, you can learn easily.
Mm-hmm.
It was a year, about a year and a half into that where I was starting to ask, okay, can I help you write a blog? Can I help you create an email sequence? Can I help you with your client care? Can I help you with your training? Because your 2 hours of showing me how to actually process a booking doesn't tell me how to run a business.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and so it was one of those moments where they said, no, this is how we've always done it. We don't need your help. That I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, this is not aligned. So yeah, I
Right.
was building my own business. I was an independent contractor for another agency, but it wasn't aligned with where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this is going down a whole different pathway. But it made me want to try change the travel industry.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned at the beginning that, my systems and my innovations and, that's been a big part of my passion in the industry. And when I bring someone on board, I talk about my three core values: personal development. If you don't like me getting a little woo woo, if you don't like me lovingly pushing you, then you're not going to like me. Right?
It's amazing. It's amazing to see the personal growth because I used to think that I had to know it all, that I had to be the smartest person in the room because people were going to come to me with questions. And what was I going to look like if I didn't know the answer? And the personal development that has happened over the last decade of being okay to reach out to other people and the coaching program we were both in
Yeah.
is so much woo. So much of my life was like, that's not logical. That's not reasonable. We're not talking about that. And then I finally sat back and said, everything that she's teaching us is learning how to grow and be better versions of ourselves to serve others. And I was like, huh, maybe I should start listening.
When I got laid off and decided to do this full time and like go all into creating my business, I was like, okay, I need a business coach. And the first
Uh-huh.
business coach I worked with talked about time blocking. And she talked about, you know, it was the Millionaire Morning. She made me read the Millionaire Morning. and it was affirmations and meditation. And I was like, who is this chick? I am not doing that. Just tell me how to run a business. Like, just tell me what to do to create a business.
Uh-huh. Tell me what to
Um,
do.
I currently have my feet on a grounding mat. My tarot cards and crystals are over here. So that person 5, 6 years ago now, like, would be like, who is this woman?
Uh-huh.
I have no
Yep.
idea. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing more. I think there's two things that send you down personal development journeys: becoming a parent and becoming an entrepreneur.
And how long did it take us, for me, like 4 years of beating my head against the wall, doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same outcome before somebody was like, you do know that that's the definition of insanity, right? Like, how is that serving you? And I was like, it's not.
I think I was on a fast track because the biggest mistake I made in my entrepreneurial journey, I got laid off. And then, so I got laid off in November. I got pregnant with Annabelle in February. So we were going through IVF. And I was like, okay, well, I know I'm going to start my agency. I'm going to wait until she's like 9 months old. And so
Hmm.
that way, I get used to being I get used to being a new mom, and I'm like no, let me wait until she's mobile and needs my attention 24/7. Like, not when she sleeps out half the day. Let me wait till she's mobile. So that was my big mistake. I wish I had launched my business like right after maternity leave, if not before. Um, the maternity leave that I, gave myself.
Right? Absolutely.
Um,
Keywords here, gave
yeah,
myself.
gave myself. But becoming a parent and becoming an entrepreneur in the same year, I was on this like, all right, you're going to be a completely different person with
Yeah.
all this stuff going on. So yeah, personal development, like, but back to, understanding what your values are.
Hmm.
And whether that's joining the travel industry or any other industry, you you have power, and you get to choose where you go, right? So it's not, I want to get into travel, I'm just going to go with the first person who calls me back. It's
Hmm.
who is aligned with where I'm going and what I want to do. Um,
Well, and having that abundance mindset allows you to not just go with the first person.
yeah,
Having that faith and knowing of I'm going to find something that is aligned with me and I'm not going to settle for
yeah.
anything less.
Yeah, there's travel agencies that don't charge planning fees. There's some that do. There's starting your own travel agency. There's becoming an independent contractor. There's becoming a starting your own brand under a host agency. There's so many ways, and there's no right way,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
There's only the way that's right for you, and there's only the business that you want to create.
Hmm.
That's something that, I also have a coaching business. I coach travel advisors on their marketing, right? And one of the things that I coach a lot on is, what does success mean to you?
Hmm.
Success doesn't have to mean X million dollars in travel bookings every
Right.
that you're making commission on, right? It's what brings you joy, and you don't have to respond to your clients within 24 hours, as long as you set the expectation of when you're going to
Right.
respond. You can't just ignore them,
Right.
but you can say, okay, this is my response time before you become a client. You need to know this.
Hmm.
And um, I just think there's so many ways to create the business and the life that you want,
Hmm.
but you don't know how to do that until you know what you want.
Yep. So we were talking right before we started recording about you launching programs starting in January and how to work with you and all of those types of things. So let's change gears just a little bit and focus on that, because I'm sure that you've piqued a lot of people's interest. They're thinking, okay, hold on, maybe I can work part-time here and do this on the side because I love to travel. How would somebody start going about doing that?
Yeah, so I think first is really understanding how you want to build your business,
Mhm.
right? And so, does it make sense for you to join an agency as an independent contractor? So that would be, what working with me would look like, a boutique agency, where you have a brand created for you, you have systems created for you, and you're responsible for bringing in business, and you create vacations for them.
Right.
Um, so we, as an independent contractor, this is seems like it's not important, but it's really important because a lot of people don't understand the legality behind independent contractors. No one can tell you when to work, no one can tell you how to work, no one can require training, right? And so a lot of travel agencies don't understand that. And so what we do is we offer a training program. So it's more like you're buying your course in advance, but
Right.
you'll get a contract after. Um, and so we launch that 4 times a year. And our training program is 8 weeks of pre-recorded videos and 4 live coaching sessions. And they don't talk about how to book a vacation. We don't train on that because depending on what avenue you want to go down, we have 2 different contracts. One is if you want to plan Disney vacations for families, then that's a different set of training. Whereas if you want to book luxury vacations to Italy, that's something, they're completely different processes. Um,
Right.
and so what we talk about is, what is your why? What is your vision?
Hmm.
How do you create marketing for a travel business? How do
Hmm.
you create client experiences for a travel business? So it's more the business stuff you need to know, the
Hmm.
entrepreneurial stuff you need to know, and less how do you actually do this? And then once you get started, once you sign your contract, then you have, okay, what do you want to book? Now let me show you how to do it.
And I
So
love that you really focused on that because one of my mentors told me years ago, before I was ever in PT school, he said, I can always teach skill. He
yeah,
said, I cannot teach personality. So, who you come and your values and everything that you've really focused on talking about here is who you are.
yeah,
And you, as Christina, can always teach people how to book vacations and how to look up logistics for this. But if you come in a certain way, that will determine who you connect with.
yeah. Well, and I think that's a great opportunity too, that, okay, we have this 8 weeks together where I'm getting to know you better and I'm
Hmm.
getting to see, okay, maybe this isn't the right agency for you, but
Hmm.
I have so many friends who own travel agencies, and you know Penny, right? We have a
Yes.
mutual contact, Penny. Penny's team, they very much are independent thinkers. They like to work independently.
Hmm.
They don't have team meetings every other week. So if you like to work independently, then I'm going to say, okay, let me connect you with Penny. If
Uh-huh.
you like really big teams, my friend Ashley has a team of over 100 travel advisors, right? And she books a lot of the Caribbean. We
Hmm.
don't. So
Uh-huh.
maybe that's a better fit for you. But it's being able to say, okay, no, I don't, I know that you just went through my training program. I just spent 8 weeks with you. You paid for it. So that's compensating me for my time. But it doesn't mean we're locked in forever. And
Hmm.
it's okay, let's figure out where it is a good fit for you. Maybe it's better for you to create your own brand, right?
Hmm.
And how do I help you with that? And so that's why I like the way we set it up with the 8 week program and then the contract, which is
Hmm.
very different than other
Hmm.
travel agencies. They'll sign you contract and then be like, here's all of our training resources. But then there's no accountability, right?
Hmm.
So that's how we've set it up. We very much focus on creating the business that you want to create and not, here are the numbers we need to hit.
Uh-huh.
How are you going to hit your numbers? Um, so
Let me pause for just a
yeah.
second because, okay, sorry for that interruption, guys. We had to pause for just a second because my dog started barking at the Amazon delivery person. So we will continue.
Yes. Yeah. So like we set it up that way so that we can help you figure out where to go in the industry.
Hmm.
And what's so great about the travel industry is such a low barrier of entry. You don't need to invest a whole lot. You need to invest some, and the more you're willing to invest, the faster you're going to build your business.
Right.
Um, but you don't have to invest anything. And it's really important to know that there is a big disparity in ways to get started. So you can just sign on with an agency, get a 2 hour, here's how you book something with no sign on fee, with no monthly fees, with right,
Okay.
and get nothing,
Uh-huh.
get no support. Or you can go in the complete opposite direction and join a program. Gifted Travel Network has an award-winning program called the Travel MBA, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a $10,000 year-long program that
Mm-hmm.
you're investing in. And then you have to invest in your brand design, your website, all of that on top of it. So there's
Mm-hmm.
two ends of the spectrum
Yeah.
in getting started in the industry. And what
Well,
we've
and
tried
your
to do is
program
find the
really
middle.
empowers women to figure out how they align.
Yeah,
And just how you set it up, to me, kind of lets them know from the beginning, like, I'm here to support you.
yeah,
And we're going to figure out whether this benefits both of us. And I know people to introduce you and connect you with if
yeah,
we find out later this is not the best fit. And I can't tell you, and I'm sure you've been in these positions too, of how many people take jobs or sign on with things and then are just like, well, I signed up, I'm here now. So
yeah.
just from the beginning saying, hey, you're going to get all this training, I'm going to be right here to support you and help you be successful with me or with someone else in the future. And
Yes.
that, with everything that you and I have been coached, that's such an abundance mindset of not having to keep and hold your clients and your colleagues here and say, no, there's plenty to go around.
Yeah.
Don't settle.
And that's what I try to teach my agents too, is that, we're not trying to grasp at everything. There's clients that we love working with, and how do we attract more of those? Um, and, when I'm talking to other agency owners, how do you define your core values? Because they're complaining that no one's showing up to their meetings, no one's doing this and no one's doing that. I'm like, well, did you share your core values at the beginning? Were you talking to them about what is going to set them up for success? No,
Mhm.
they just hire them and then think like, okay, they're going to show up. I have the opposite problem on my team. So if you like collaboration, this might be a good place for you. I travel a lot. Surprise, surprise. And I have to reschedule our team meetings. And my team finally came to me and they're like, okay, well, we're missing one meeting a quarter because of your travel, and we don't want to miss that. So can we have a coffee chat when you're away? And I'm like, okay. And it just developed into like now they meet weekly and it's every other week with me and every other week just them.
Uh-huh.
Because that's when I brought them on. I said, okay, I value personal development,
Mhm.
collaboration,
Mhm.
and innovation.
Yeah.
Right? And the more that you can understand what your core values are, and you can bring that to the travel agency you want to work with, the marketing agency you want to work with,
Mhm.
wherever you want to go that's more flexible, the more you can understand your work style, the manager style that you work best with, and your core values, you have so much power and you can go in and be like, this is what I need. This
Oh
is what I
yeah.
want. This is what I need.
Well, and several years ago, I did the Clifton Strengths Finder, and
Yep.
it gives you like your top 10 strengths, but really like your main top five. And if any of us have ever gone to an interview, it's like, well, tell me about your top three strengths and tell me about your top three weaknesses. And I love that objective measure because it talks about blind spots rather than weaknesses. And if you, for somebody who wants to collaborate and have discussions with team, then you look to hire people who have strengths in your blind spot areas so that you have this beautiful team who builds people up and there's people in places where they're going to thrive. Whereas trying to fit this person here and and make them do, and if we can empower any of you on this show today, there is a job out there for you that you can create that will light your soul on fire. Period.
Mhm.
And if that is in travel, I want to make sure that you guys connect with Christina. So how can people get a hold of you? How can they learn about your coaching programs and
Yes.
business model, all the
So
things?
The best email for me is Christina@showcasetheworld.com. If you're not quite ready to make that commitment yet, my LinkedIn, I have a biweekly article that I do on LinkedIn. So I have a weekly article. Every other week is for my clients to talk about here's what's going on in the travel industry. And then the off weeks are for travel advisors to like, what can you do to grow your business? And I should probably have had that all like pulled up and ready for you, but I can let you know what that page is.
Well, and we'll also have all of this in the show notes. So I'm
Yeah.
sure, I don't know about you, but all of us, um, I tend to listen to podcasts while I'm driving and I'm like, oh, I need that. So we'll make sure that we have the email and all the ways to connect with you in the show notes.
That's much better because the article to subscribe to those articles, there's a bunch of numbers. So we'll just put that in the show
There
notes.
you go. Was there anything that we missed or you want to make sure that we touch on before we end today?
No, I think that's real. I really just wanted to talk about, the becoming an entrepreneur and it's such a great opportunity as a mom. So whether you're a stay-at-home mom who's looking for something that for yourself to like
Mhm.
really light you up and give you something to fulfill you, or if you're in corporate and you just need something that allows you the flexibility to be the parent that you want to be, you can create that. And
Mhm.
it's so rewarding and so fulfilling and to create the life that you want to have.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And just know that if you have deep burning desires to do something different with your life, follow that. Don't let anybody snuff out your flame.
Yeah. And I know this is going live in January. We
Yes.
do our training program because it is live. We do it every quarter. So we would love to have you join our January program. Or if you're listening to this, I like to go back to podcasts and listening to the very beginning. So if you're listening to this like 5 years from now, then we do it every quarter and we're probably still going to be doing it every quarter. So don't hesitate to reach out if the travel industry is something that you're vaguely interested in, and whether working with me or not, I love to get people started in the right spot and connect them with the right people. So if you think travel is it, don't hesitate to reach out.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to today's show. If this episode resonated with you, I would truly appreciate a 5-star review. Your feedback is so important to me. Additionally, if today's topics have sparked a desire for more in your life and you're unsure about the next step, I have a special offer for you. I'm offering a free call to explore how my high level coaching and strategizing can help you gain clarity on your goals, prioritize what is most important to you, and refocus on yourself in the process. Simply head over to coreywinn.com/free call. That's www.coreyWinn.com/free call. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.